Manever I say ma PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV there, osia dem yopo.
This is PENDREAM TV, the only channel that brings you the best in politics and latest updates. If you are new here, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell, like and also share for other new members to watch as well. You can also join the discussion by sending us a voice note on our WhatsApp number, which is 0277128777, or leave a comment at the comment section after watching. Information reaching us is that ACP Agoo Benjamin has been granted bail finally, and he also came out saying all that they did to him and how he sees things and how he also see the Attorney General seeing things in myopic way. And he also asked him if he doesn't understand what he said, he should go and learn and stop the myopic way or the ignorance way of doing things. That much I do. I would like you to join me listening to what he said into detail. Thank you.
ACP Benjamin Agoo. For more perspectives, more importantly, how does he feel now? And is his life truly over? You're welcome to our front, sir.
Thank you very much.
I hope you are doing well today.
Very well, in high spirit.
So between last night and today, what have you been doing? Dancing around, having calls, having parties. Exactly what have you been doing?
I've been praying, I've been dancing, I've been receiving calls. Those are generally what I've been doing. And I'm very fine.
You must be in high spirits.
Very high spirit. And I've always been in high spirit. If you had not seen me before yesterday's judgment, maybe that's why you may think that I've been in a higher spirit, but I've always been in high spirit.
Were you expecting this?
Very much so. And remember when I was arraigned before Kaneshi Court the first time, I gave a brief interview to the media. I spoke to the media and said I wasn't going to be moved by this, and that I was going to stand for this till the end, and that I had done nothing untoward. Remember, I specifically said that if I said something that is not related or not linked to any coup, you could not bug me with any of this. And I stood for this till this time.
I would explore whether or not you are, even though set free, you are in the public's opinion guilty. That question I would explore. I would explore why a police officer is so of your caliber timber to the level of an assistant commissioner will be planning to remove the government of the day. Of your decent nature, a man who had actually espoused a lot. That question will also come up. But first, some of us got to know you through your public pronouncements within the police. And we knew also that you had a PhD because, I mean, a few of you have in the police service anyway. But who really is Benjamin Agoo? How did he become ACP? And how come all of this happened to him along the line?
Let me start by saying that my PhD is in politics and human rights.
Okay.
And that speaks a lot. When you combine politics with human rights, there is no way you could escape talking about topical issues. And I was placed at that time as the head of transformation in the police service. And being placed as the head of that transformation meant a lot to me. And I needed to bring together a lot of stakeholders to delve into the problems facing the police service at the time. We discovered a lot of things which I will not talk about here. But then we needed other people to speak for us, and I had already intimated this to the IGP then, and he gracefully accepted the idea. And that was why when this issue of speaking at IDEC came, I said, look, route that thing through the IGP, and they routed through him, and he agreed that I should go and talk about it. The IGP didn't know the content of what I was going to talk about, but he agreed that I should go. And having worked with these vigilante issues as the director of operations, remember, before I became director of transformation, I was the director of operations, managing the 2016 election together with Mr. Yohonu. And therefore, I had known a lot of things about political vigilantes, and I had fair idea. With my research background, I delved into it, and that brought me to the limelight. But before then, I had been talking about these issues, working with IDEG and CODIO and a lot of other civil society organizations in election and security-related issues. I had been director of visibility or national patrols, and I had held other positions as a district commander and taught at the police academy for a very long time. And therefore, and I served the police service for 36 years.
Okay, almost 4 decades.
Yes, 36 years. Now, maybe I have to preempt some of these things. So, and I have also traveled out a lot. If there was one police officer who traveled a lot, I'll be one of them. I mean, one of the 2 or 3 outside this country, teaching here and there at police academies in other countries, in China and everywhere. Taught in police, Kofi Annan, University of Education, Winneba, at the Conflict Center and other things. So I'm not new to some of these things, particularly because of my area of speciality, human rights and conflict, human rights and politics.
Now, it is interesting because, of course, many did not know your history in the police beyond the times you became very popular for speaking up on so many issues.
Yeah.
Now, let's get to this point. How did it all start?
Yeah.
Were you home one day, you were invited by the NIB, then was turned into an arrest? How did it all start?
It all started on one Thursday. I had just returned from Winneba after teaching Master of Philosophy students. And then I received a call from the then IGP. I don't want to mention names, okay? Okay, the then IGP. And I realized that there was some urgency in his call. Ben, where are you? By the way, I'm putting together a book on all this. Where are you? And I said I was in town. See me in my office right now. I was a bit concerned because we had been speaking and he had never spoken to me that way. I tried to give excuses, but he said no. Even whether you are dressed for office or not, offices have closed, people have left the office, come to the office. I went there only to be informed that the BNI wanted to see me and that I should report to the BNI that Friday, the next day, which was a Friday. I asked my IGP whether they had given any reasons for the invitation. He said no. I said, could you please find out? And that's my nature. I said, could you please find out why they are inviting me? Because I needed to know why I'm going to the BNI. So he promised getting back to me. That Friday, I told him I was traveling to, and I had returned from mission, and I had not reported officially to the police service. So I was free to move.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So I told him I was going for a funeral. But now,
but had you been arrested at
nobody had arrested me then. That tells you the propaganda behind the whole thing. Because they had already planned everything and schemed it in such a way that they had already given our names out to certain media houses and other things. So whether I reported or not, it was reported that I had reported. Because they were sure that I was going to report that Friday. And so even though I did not report, it was there. So Monday I reported. I spoke to my lawyer. And I reported, and then that was the beginning of a very long story, taking me over almost 4 years, 3 months.
I want you to recount to me. So, in that process,
Yeah.
we all knew that. So subsequently, we reported.
Yes.
They told you had been arrested.
Yes.
But what was the conversation preceding that you have been arrested? Were they telling you that no, we think that you are planning a coup? We think you are planning with others to try and overthrow this thing, the government of the day.
You know, it's very funny, and I don't want to go into certain details because I'll put them in a book form. But I was amazed at the manner in which they went about it. First of all, they wanted to separate me from my lawyer, which I resisted. And I think that even annoyed them because BNI is used to do interrogation without lawyers. And I had known that for a very long time. And I told them that the only time they could separate me from my lawyer was when they had told me that I was under arrest. Because at that time they had not told me anything, so you could not separate me. So I resisted it. And therefore, that paved the way for me and my lawyers to enter the interrogation room. Now, take note, out of the 10 people arrested, I was the only person who was interrogated before my lawyers. And that tells you a story. Because I knew their game and I insisted, I was the only person who was interrogated before my lawyers. None of the others was interrogated before their lawyers. If you listen to the judgment yesterday, the judge said something very informative and very instructive. He said the BNI kept saying that the audio or the recording of the interrogation was available, but they never produced it in court. Why didn't the BNI produce all the interrogation they did in court as part of the disclosures? Yet they went out telling stories. And so that's how it happened. And I was told, we went to the interrogation room, they started asking me questions, I answered, and the questions bordered on 3 or 4 things. One, I had paid $2,000 to Dr. Mpam late to support his intended coup. I explained to them the circumstances under which I paid the $2,000. Of course, they didn't even know I had paid the $2,000, so I told them that I paid $2,000 to him. And even on the platform, I had made a promise on the open platform that looking at the medical outreach program they were undertaking, I was going to support.
So your payment was not towards the planning, the execution, and the conceptualization and implementation of a coup?
Never. And they knew it. BNI knew it. They knew it. And I told them. But you know, they have a way of fabricating things. If they really want to get at you, and they always think that by producing 13 witnesses all saying the same thing, it will mean that it will be taken. They have forgotten that the court operates differently from the way they operated. So you heard General Andor saying the same thing, the Colonel saying the same thing, the Detective Nkrumah saying the same thing, Francis Abuaji saying the same thing, that I had to support the coup, I paid $2,000. The judge said there was no evidence to that effect. And another thing they said was that, aside that, I had talked about a big bang. Now, if you don't understand the idiomatic expression of a big bang, and you take it out of context, so they just picked words and sentences and phrases from different places and pieced them together as evidence. They had forgotten that they are dealing with somebody who had been an investigator in my life, in the police service, and I have served in the police service for 36 years, and therefore you could do it to others, but not to me. And therefore I took my time together with my lawyers and put my case together, dismantling all that they had said, and bringing and putting them in the context in which I said them, which the judges agreed with.
But in all fairness, what business has a senior police officer got to do with somebody like Dr. Mpam, who was actually found guilty anyway? What business do you have not only engaging him, but also being on the platform?
Point of correction, Dr. Mpam was never found guilty. He wasn't alive at the time.
But part of the convicted, actually.
Hold on. No, so far as I'm concerned, he was not convicted yesterday.
I see he died before it.
He died before it, and therefore his evidence was expunged. And he couldn't have been imprisoned in absentia or in his death. So that's point of correction. He was never imprisoned yesterday. He was never convicted yesterday. It was a propaganda by somebody, I don't want to mention the name, that if he was alive, he would have been convicted. That is too presumptive.
Okay. No, I get the point, but he is the man they put before court.
Yes.
In fact, he was projected right from the beginning.
Yes.
As the architect of all of this.
Yes.
How did you connect with such a man?
That's a good one. I had actually stated that thing in open court on my way to Haiti on UN mission. That was soon after the IDEC presentation. I received a call in Uganda, and the person introduced himself as Dr. Mpam, and that he has this NGO called Take Action Ghana, and that having listened to my advocacy and other things, he thought that being on the platform could be of help to them by way of advice and all that. I said, okay, fine. send me the profile of your tag platform.
I see the NGO.
Yes, the NGO.
Okay.
And then he sent it. And remember yesterday, the judges read the profile in court. And the profile they sent me indicated that it was a democratically oriented NGO. Who wouldn't want to follow such a thing? And therefore, I agreed to join. And then we began to talk about democratic issues. There was no point, at no point in time, did we discuss anything on the platform about coup d'etat. The issue about, and maybe I may be preempting one of your questions, I don't know, but...
You mean the Arab Spring?
Yes.
The time you had commented that we arrived for an Arab Spring.
Yes, if I may go ahead.
Please proceed.
The only thing that sends some jitters in their spine and whatever is the fact that I mentioned Arab Spring. And yesterday, one minister was still talking about that, despite my acquittal and discharge. He thought that I shouldn't. Do they and I think that they are...
the Attorney General himself, and I heard him speak, he
Yes.
said, what business has a senior police officer, a serving officer,
Yes.
staying on a platform and talking about Arab Spring?
Does he understand Arab Spring? If he doesn't, he should keep quiet. If he doesn't understand Arab Spring, he should keep quiet.
But he's a lawyer.
He's a lawyer, but being a lawyer doesn't mean that you know everything. You can be a lawyer and be an ignoramus in an area. I teach conflict.
Okay.
Do you understand me? I told you I teach conflict at even MPhil level. I teach it at Kofi Annan, I teach it at all level. Arab Spring or civil uprising and other things are democratic means of expressing dissent in every society. Today we espouse people like Martin Luther King and other things. Why are we espousing them?
But we knew in 2011
Yes.
that this has led to the removal of governments. Tunisian example is clear. The other countries within the Arab regions, that the explicit definition
Yes.
and appreciation.
You
of
are
saying,
talking about explicit definition.
Yeah.
That is common knowledge.
Yes.
But when you look at Arab Spring, it is like any other spontaneous demonstration by citizens to express their dissatisfaction.
Which in the reality and the examples
If it leads to the fact that a government decides that, do you know that we can, the Kumi Preku could have led to Rawlings saying that, okay, I've resigned. Could it have been called Arab Spring? The Kumi Preku in Ghana
I'm not sure.
could have led to Rawlings saying, okay, I've resigned. Once the VAT has been defeated and other things have resigned. When you go to the literature, go and Google it anywhere. Be careful you don't go to Wikipedia.
I get that. Of course.
Because when you go to Wikipedia, Wikipedia will give, and I proved to the prosecution in court that when they need a definition to issues, they should not go to Wikipedia, because they came out with a Wikipedia definition which I drew the attention to, and they could not talk about it again. So go
You
to
mean the Attorney General of the Republic of Ghana?
I'm saying the prosecution team.
Okay, all right.
Whoever was representing them, and it's on record. I can produce. It's a court record, and I can give you.
But
give
that
you
should be very strange. I mean,
Yes. So at the end of the day, you come to appreciate the definitions which are acceptable in academia. Because when you quote today, you quote Wikipedia definitions in academia, in the universities, they will not take you serious.
I get it. I know that. Every first year student of a university would know that. That's basically.
So I'm saying that when you want to know the real definition of Arab Spring, don't go to Wikipedia. Go to other sources and it will tell you the real meaning of it.
And you say that's what they confronted you with, a Wikipedia definition of it.
A Wikipedia definition and their myopic understanding of that term. And that is what they confront. And that's what they have held on to till today. And that's what Attorney General is still holding on to. He should go and learn. He should go and learn. Because he's not dealing with just people. He's dealing with people who have also climbed the ladder somewhere.
I get that. What exactly did you say about Arab Spring?
Look, during one of our conversations, Dr. Mpam asked me, the question was simple. What do I think about Arab Spring? And I expressed my opinion. And I told him that, look, the seed of Arab Spring has been sown in Ghana. We are waiting for the triggers. And I began to tell him about some of the challenges. But before that, I had expressed similar opinion on Alert with Adam Bona. You can find out from Adam Bona. I had expressed Alert is a WhatsApp platform.
Oh, okay, a different WhatsApp platform.
Different WhatsApp platform in which Dr. Nyahuma Cruz Tamokla said that a civil uprising was imminent in Ghana, and then to get jittery about it. And then I explained that what is the jittery about this when people mention Arab Spring and the civil uprising? I mean, these are common issues that are being dealt with elsewhere every day, and it's a civil way of showing dissent and other things. And I expressed the same thing over there. I don't want to mention a name because it will trigger another thing.
Get you.
But at the end of the day, a minister of state on the platform took me on and said he will bring me to order. And that was the beginning of my problem. A minister of state on that platform. And Adam Bona knows that minister very well. I don't want to mention his name at all.
In all fairness, since you've just mentioned ministers and there are several of them, it will be fair if you let us know who is
Dominic Nitiwu. Dominic Nitiwu. The Minister of Defense, who doesn't understand what Arab civil uprising is, and who doesn't understand what Arab Spring is, said openly on the platform that he was going to take me on.
The defense minister was telling a senior police officer
he was going to take me, and he wrote it on the platform, and I have a copy of it. And Adam Bona confronted him over it and asked him to be very careful the way he confronts people on the platform. So that was the beginning of my ordeal. And because of that, and don't forget, this whole thing started with defense intelligence. Defense intelligence under the auspices of the defense minister. So when he said he was going to take me on, he was going to bring me to order, he had already initiated it. So
let's get this straight. You are saying that it's not the NIB that started investigating your matters.
No, I can tell you. You know, we have something in investigation we call you reconstruct the scene.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So by reconstructing the scene, you are saying that you go back and reflect, and then you begin to see how this whole thing started, and you are able to make a logical conclusion. When I reconstructed the whole thing, I realized by the time the man said he was going to bring me to order, he had already initiated the investigation. And I got to know that the defense intelligence was the ones who started the investigation with the military people, with General Andor and others, before submitting the whole thing to BNI. Now do you get my point?
I get you.
So having reconstructed the scene, I can tell you that it was the defense intelligence, Mr. Nitiwu, who, the defense minister, Mr. Nitiwu, who initiated this whole arrest process. He can take me anywhere he wants, and I'll prove to him that he was the one who did it. And I'm saying this on record because I have it. It's on phone. Whatever he said is on phone. It's on Alert with Adam Bona. If you ask Adam Bona, he will show it to you.
And this was because there's a disagreement over whether or not an uprising
was possible or not, and a civil uprising which was posted by somebody allegedly said they said Dr. Nyahu Tamekulu says Arab civil uprising is imminent in Ghana, and we started discussing it. If you don't like my views or you don't understand my views, ask for clarification. People say you are on platform and you are talking. What are platforms for? Platforms are for expressing opinions, especially on security matters.
The expectation is that mindful of the role you play in the security service.
Mindful of what role?
Because you're a senior officer.
Yes.
When people hear you say certain things, the presumption is that no, we should take it very serious.
Yes, then they should have taken it serious. They should have taken it serious. How many people haven't spoken about Arab Spring in Ghana? They didn't say that. How many people? I don't want to mention names, but how many people haven't spoken about what? Have they been arrested?
What you are telling me today is that our conception or the understanding that some have that Arab Spring means that
it's a coup d'etat.
It's a coup d'etat.
It's myopic.
It's an unconstitutional change of government.
It's myopic.
That perception
is myopic.
Is something that is not what you meant at any point you referenced.
Not exactly how you are saying it. It is myopic. It is one-sided.
Okay.
Because when you go into the literature, when you go to common definition, go and Google apart from Wikipedia, and you will see what it really means.
So you at no point in time had the intention to collaborate with the others or support any attempt to unconstitutionally remove government?
I will never do that. Look, if you look at my background, I have been on at least.
Thank you for watching. Really appreciate your time. And if you have not yet subscribed, please do so. Turn on the notification bell so that you'll be the first to receive any update that will be uploaded onto the channel. Thank you. Don't forget to also share for other new members to watch and know what is going on around the globe. Well, bye-bye.
PENDREAM TV. Now, so far so good. Say open online portal e Ghana. Nipa share, nipa follow, nipa comment here. To my best of knowledge, without any biases, PENDREAM TV.